he called me to tell me that he has been pulled over. And I asked him, I said, for what? And he said that the police officer said that he had an air freshener hanging from his rearview mirror. So at that time I told him, I said, well, you should take it down. It's back to the window to please hand him the phone so I could explain the insurance and give him my insurance policy that we haven't added it yet.
When you talked to your son, Daunte, how did he sound to you during that call?
He sounded nervous, scared. He asked, if he was in trouble. I said, no, you haven't done anything wrong. And he just sounded really nervous. But I reassured him that it would be okay.
Take your time. When he placed these calls to you, how were you receiving these calls? Was it through a cell phone network or some other way?
It was through Facebook Messenger. It was voice calls. He didn't have phone service at the time, so he was calling through Facebook Messenger.
And so after you had this initial conversation with your son, Daunte, about wanting to talk to the officers, what happened after that?
I heard the police officer come back up to the window and he asked Daunte to step out of the vehicle. And Daunte asked, for what? Am I in trouble? And I heard the officer say, I need you to just put the phone down, step out of the vehicle, and I'll let you know as soon as you step out of the vehicle. And then at that time, I heard the phone either being placed on an object, whether it was dropped on the floor or placed on the dash, I'm not sure, but I could hear the phone being put down. And then I heard the officer telling Daunte, no. And I heard Daunte say, no, I'm not. Don't. It sounded like he said, don't run. Daunte said, no, I'm not. And then I heard them say, tell somebody to hang up the phone. And then that's all I heard.
Did the phone disconnect?
It did.
After the phone disconnected, then you heard what you described. What happened next?
I was panicked. I called back. It seemed like 100 times, but I believe it was probably maybe 4 or 5 times, and I kept calling. So finally I FaceTimed. I would say I don't know how much time lapsed, maybe a minute or two. And then a female answered the phone because it was FaceTime. She was screaming. And I was like, what's wrong? And she said that they shot him. And she faced the phone towards the driver's seat. And my son was laying there. He was unresponsive, and he looked dead. And then I heard somebody say, hang up the phone again. And it disconnected again.
So after that phone call disconnected, or you said it was a video call at that point, so you got to see your son Daunte. What did you do after that video call?
I grabbed my grandson and I called my husband because he wasn't home. I said they just shot Daunte. And he said, what? And he said that they just shot him. And I said they just shot him. The police officer just shot Daunte. They have no clue where they are. And I hung up with him. And then I called 911 because I needed to find out where my son was.
And did you, in fact, make that call to 911?
I did.
What did you learn when you made that call?
They transferred me to a few different police stations. I said my son was just shot by a police officer and I need to know where he is. And they transferred me to, I think it was Brooklyn Park or Brooklyn Center I don't remember which police station or which 911 operator answered, but they gave me an address of 63rd and Catherine. And I put it in my GPS, and I grabbed my grandson, and I got into my vehicle, and my neighbors heard me screaming because I like fell to the ground because I didn't know what to do. So she helped me up. She put us into the vehicle, and then she drove us to 63rd and Catherine in Brooklyn Center.
A neighbor who drove you and Daunte Jr.?
Yes.
And about how long did it take for you to get to that location?
Oh, it seemed like forever. I felt like we weren't getting there fast enough, but probably 7-8 minutes, maybe a little bit longer.
And is that where you went to that location at 63rd and Catherine?
Yes.
And what did you see when you got there?
So we were driving down Brooklyn Boulevard, coming up to 63rd, and there was a lot of traffic, a lot. So I got out of the car because I could see, when we were waiting to turn, I could see all the police lights probably about 6 blocks down. And I got out of the car and I started running towards Catherine because the traffic wasn't moving fast enough. And then the car that I was in ended up catching up with me, and I got back in for another 2 blocks. And then I got out again and ran the last 2 blocks to where all the yellow tape was. And then I went under the yellow tape because I seen a car crash, and I noticed it was my son's car. And then in the front of his car is where he was laying.
Did you see your son's body on the ground?
I did.
So what did you do when you got to that area?
I was so distraught. I didn't know what was happening. I just got off the phone and they said he shot him, but I seen a car crash. I was asking questions. I didn't want to believe that was my son laying there on the ground, but I could tell it was him because of his tennis shoes.
And when you say you could tell it was him because of his tennis shoes, was it only part of his body that was visible to you?
They had a white sheet over him.
But you recognized his shoes?
Yeah.
Your Honor, at this time I would offer Exhibit 6. Again, I understand that there's no foundational objection to that exhibit.
And what is Exhibit 6?
It's a video of Ms. Bryant arriving on scene.
All right. Is there no objection? Exhibit 6 will be admitted into evidence, and you may publish, counsel.
Thank you.
Hi. Touch me, I swear, fuck you. I can't. My father. No. I don't know anything. Who are you? I am Katie Bryant, his mom. I want to see you now. Please. Wait, he's over 20.
I don't know what's going on.
I know what's going on.
What happened?
He FaceTime live. Ma'am, I'm going to get you somebody to talk to. I'm going to get you someone to talk to. Okay? But I just can't have you going over there right now, okay?
Ma'am, my name is Mark. What is your name? Can I have you sit on the light show?
You guys shot him. Why?
I don't know. I wasn't here.
Why? Because he had a warrant? Are you fucking serious? I was here. I watched it.
Can you just sit down? Tell me what's going on, because I wasn't here.
No. Where's the girl that was in the car with him? You guys made her hang up Facebook Live so you could kill my son. That's pretty pathetic.
What is your name?
What is your name? My name is Katie Bryant. My son's name is Daunte Wright. You guys already know that.
I don't. Katie Brian.
It was a high-speed chase.
Brian?
How?
And then what's your son's name?
Daunte Wright. It was not a high-speed chase. You guys shot him in a pullover traffic.
I didn't do anything, ma'am.
Yeah, you did. He was laying in his front seat dead. His girlfriend Facebooked me. How did his car get smashed?
What's his name again?
Daunte Wright.
Right? Is it W-R-I-G-H?
W-I-G-H-T.
Okay. Is it Katie?
Yeah.
Bryant.
Yeah.
All right. Just wait a second here, ma'am.
I need you to just sit down, please.
Ma'am?
Please sit down. Okay, so I wasn't here. You said there was a traffic stop and they shot
They
him?
pulled him over, and he said, Mom, do you have a warrant? I said, oh, no. They asked him to get out of the car. He got out of the car, and they said, wait, stop. They said, stop. And then she goes, and then they shot him, and he fell back in the seat. And he was in the driver's seat. And she said, they shot him. And I said, what do you mean they shot him? She said, yeah. And then they told her to hang up, and that was it. I don't know nothing else. So I had to call you guys to find out where this happened.
I really don't know more because I just came because I heard there was trouble.
Why is my car smashed up?
I don't know.
I don't know.
This deputy here wasn't, we weren't here, but...
I'm
Is he alive?
I do not know the condition. I don't
Are you
know
guys serious? What are you talking to me for then?
I'm going to find out.
We're gonna find out, but we have to wait and find out who's involved and who's in charge, and get you in contact with the people that know what's
Tell me
going
your name
on.
so I can tell them who I'm talking to.
I'm gonna start exchanging.
We are also trying to figure out what's going on.
Stop. Thank you. Ms. Bryant, I know that was tough to watch. Can you just describe for the jury what you were feeling when you arrived on scene?
I was praying that it wasn't him laying on the ground, that it was the person in the other car, and that he was in the back of a cop car. I was so confused, angry, scared. It was the worst day of my life, and
You said that you were praying that it wasn't him, but in your heart, having recognized those shoes, did you feel like you knew?
I knew, but I didn't want to know. I was biting the insides of my cheeks. I still have scars on the insides of my cheeks because I thought it was a dream. And if I bit the insides of my cheeks, that I would wake up. But I didn't wake up.
You know, in the video you described that you were there and that you watched it. What did you mean by that?
That when I FaceTimed back, while I was on the phone prior, so I heard the conversation between the officer and Daunte before he had to get out of the car, and that after, when I FaceTimed the female that was in the car, I could see what happened, and she said what happened, that she was shot by the police officer that was there at the time.
That he was shot, your son Daunte?
My son Daunte was shot, yes.
And you had mentioned, I think, Facebook Live, but is that video call, the FaceTime or video messenger call that you are describing?
Yes, Messenger Live.
Okay. About how long did you stay in that area after this?
Hours, 8, 9 hours. I felt like I couldn't leave because I begged them to take his body off the ground. I didn't want to leave until he left.
At some point, did your husband join you as well?
He did.
And did someone come to pick up Daunte Jr., your grandson who was with you?
Yes, China ended up coming to get him.
said that you waited on scene until they removed your son Daunte's body. Were you ever given an opportunity to approach or see him close up on that day?
No, I wasn't.
Excuse me, I objected, that's not relevant.
The objection is overruled. You may answer.
No, I wasn't able to approach him at all.
And what was going through your head while you were waiting for all those hours?
That I wanted to go comfort my baby. I wanted to hold him. And I wanted to protect him, because that's what mothers do. You protect your children. You make sure that they're safe.
Thank you, Your Honor. Nothing further.